Okay, so hello, welcome to the stream, and welcome to welcome to the stream indeed. So we are going to be flying to Tokyo. This is just going to be a one way route. We're going to be flying to Tokyo, then the return flight will be tomorrow, actually. So this plane will have an overnight stay in Tokyo. So let's go inside the cockpit and set up the airplane. So yeah, let's go. So here we are inside the cockpit of the 747. Just hold on a second here. Okay, here we are in the cockpit of the 747. And everything is powered up with the ground power, essentially. So what we're going to be checking first is we're going to be testing the cockpit voice recorder. As you can see. So we'll test the cockpit voice recorder here now. Just hold this button. Once the green light will illuminate, then that's it. And we're going to test the fire suppression squibs here. We're going to make sure that everything will illuminate. Next, we're going to test the fire warning. Okay, make sure that everything illuminates as well. Then we're going to test the lights. So everything in the overhead panel is illuminating. On the MCP, and then on the pedestal, and then on the maintenance panel right above. Then we're going to test the weather radar. Just hold this one. Once we see the indications, then that's good. Okay. Okay, so we'll have stat page. Then we're gonna go to the captain's seat. And we're gonna check some stuff over here. Okay, so data currency of the EFB for portable is check. MTOPACA, there's no issue with the airplane. Let's have the IRSs to nav. So you don't need to place them on a line. You just need to go ahead and select nav over here. The align thing here is just for quick align. So if you are going to be having just a short short turnaround time and you want to clear out all of the unnecessary saved IRS data, so you can just do a quick align by placing it from nav to align and then back to nav. Okay, so yeah, status display is checked. Then we're gonna verify the hydraulic pressure. We have 1830 for the crew and passenger is 1820. Let's check hydraulic quantity. Let's also check that's within normal levels. Then we're gonna go to the engine page and check the engine oil quantity, and that's also good. And we'll go back to stat page. We'll do a test for the oxygen. So we need you to note that we have 1830 pressure over here. If ever so, then this pressure will not go down once we test the oxygen, then there's no leakage. So we're gonna test the oxygen mask. As you can see, the pressure stays the same. You can confirm that indeed the oxygen system is working correct. So, flight deck access system switch, that's just auto for now. Maintenance documents, we've checked it, and then we'll check the P6 circuit breaker. There's the P6 circuit breakers over here, and then we're gonna check importantly the voice recorder P6L27. Is 3L27 is in, so it's in. That's good. And then we just assume that the emergency equipment is already on board the airplane. So there we go. There's the oxygen and everything else. And then we'll check also the escape ropes. We should have 5 units on this airplane. Yeah, we have 5 units. And then the spare bulbs, let's check as well. Okay, we will assume that the airplanes are on board. The overhead maintenance panel is it's all closed. And then APU star source switch is APU battery. Lower lobe, aft cargo heat selector, we just keep it at low, and then towing power is off. Aside from that, circuit breakers P7, which is all these stuff over here. Everything is in. And then we just set the parking brakes. There we go. Parking brakes are set. So we've done with the preliminary checks of our airplane. We are gonna be starting the APU first. Before we're gonna start with the FMC. Just hold this for 3 seconds, and then we'll watch the N2 rise up here on the stat page. That will indicate that the APU is starting. Okay, the APU is starting now. I'll just put this to RTO, and then seatbelt signs are already on. Okay, so while we're waiting for the APU to fully start up, let's set up the FMC. We're gonna go to the ident page, which is actually what's gonna be automatically showing in here. So we have Boeing 7478, the nav data is 2603, valid between March 19 and April 16. Then the engines is GNX2B67. So these are all correct. Okay, we have APU available now. Switch our power to APU. Yeah, let's go to the pause init page. We'll go to program here, our progress. We'll enter our airport and our gate. And then we'll enter the GPS position because this is a bit more accurate than the gate position stored in the FMC. And then we'll go to page number 3 and go to nav options. We're going to be doing this due to the fact that there might be GPS interference in the area. So just to make sure that the airplane can triangulate its correct positions, we can triangulate the nav data or IRS data using VORs. So this is important that all of these will be on. Then we're going to go back to route. And we're going to enter our route. So we're going to enter our route manually. We're not going to download any e-links, just to show you how to create a route. So that is our route. Seoul Incheon to Tokyo Narita, and then that's our flight number, Korean Air 705. We'll go to ATC and then ACARS. We'll go to pre-flight. So we're gonna log in or enter our details for our D-Link over here. So our pushback time or our ETD is gonna be 10 UTC, which is approximately 53 minutes from now. And then our estimated time elapsed, our ETE, is going to be a block time of 2 hours and 17 minutes. And then airline ID will be Kilo Echo. There we go. So we're going to enter our route now. As per checking, the departure runways are facing northward. I'm just going to double check. Yep, it's facing north, and since we're going to be going eastbound, so from Seoul or Korea to Japan, we're going to be doing an eastbound flight. We're going to be taking off using runway 33 left. So we're going to go to depth R, then press on departure. Then we're going to use 33 left, and as per our flight plan, we're going to be using the Agoba to Echo departure. So I'll have the documents over here. This is the PDF for the flight. This is already downloaded here, LEFB. So we're gonna go to our ATC flight plan. So this is our flight plan over here. This third portion. So it's a GOBA. After GOBA, Yankee 697. The last waypoint is Lanat. So we're gonna enter Yankee 697 and then Lanat. So we're gonna go back to route. And the next page, page number 2, will show you the waypoints and airways. Yankee 697 to Lanat. The next would be Yankee 51 to Salmon. I think next would be Yankee 517 to Escas. And then that's Yankee 303 to NTAC. And then Yankee 30 to Swamp. Okay, and I think the arrival runway in Tokyo right now is northbound, so we're gonna select the arrival runway, the shorter one, which is 3-4 right by default. This is not really needed, but I would like to do this due to the fact that I want to have a bit more accurate fuel prediction, essentially. So we're gonna go to Isla Zulu 3-4 right, and then we're gonna select Swamp T. Tango, and I think the last point of that is Tyler. Yeah, Tyler. Okay, Tyler indeed. We're gonna select that. I'll go back to route and review our routing. Okay, everything is good to go. Let's go to plan. Now we'll go to legs page and view the route. Okay, everything looks good. We can activate the route and execute. Since we're still not yet boarding, we're gonna do the perf in it in a moment. By the time that we already have the final passenger load, and they're gonna start boarding the passengers. So we'll just keep this one as it is. For the meantime, the IRSs are aligned. Let's request boarding now. So let's go to ATC. Let's go to pre-flight and then we can connect. Right, syncing. Let's adjust the heading here. It should be 334. Okay, the D-Link is active. So let's just set up the EFIS. Same stuff over here. So we need to turn on the pause due to the fact that we might be subject to GPS interference. That way it can triangulate the next its location using VOR stations on the ground. That's it. We're gonna wait for the boarding to start. Then once we have the passengers boarding, we're gonna go back and we're gonna request the perfinet from the company via downlink. So we're just gonna wait over here. I'm just gonna stay at the external position and then just gonna mute myself momentarily while the boarding has not yet commenced. It should be around 10 minutes before the passengers will start boarding. So yeah, we're gonna be using real time. You can track this flight. It's Korean Air 705 in flight radar 24. It might get boring before our pushback, so there might be about an hour before we push back from this stand. We're going to be monitoring the real airplane. We're going to be using the real squawk codes and everything. So everything will be followed as if we are flying the real airplane. So yeah, see you in a moment. I'll just place the view on the outside view. Then I'll get back to you once we start boarding so that we can set up our berth. We can set up our takeoff calculations for our speed and our thrust and everything. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a perf unit over here. So I'm just gonna switch this over to the summary and fuel page. Yeah, that one. So our final reserve fuel is 18.3, which is 18,300 pounds. So we're gonna request our D-Link for our performance initialization. Okay, we will accept that. Let's change the reserve to 18.3. And then the cruise CG is 21.5. Cost index will be 40 due to the situation with the fuel in the Middle East. So originally this was 60. When the war started, it's already 40. They've changed it down to save some fuel. And then the cruise altitude, although we're going to be having a final cruise of 37,000 feet, I'll just enter 31 for now. And that will be changed anyways when we climb a bit more further. So that's it. That's our performance, and then let's go to thrust limit. So let's initialize the flight. And then we'll go to performance. By the way, the departure that we're going to be using, which is Take Over to Echo, has a climb gradient requirement of between 1,000 to 2,000 FPM on the climb below just 17,000 feet. So we're going to be doing a slightly derated takeoff. So yeah. Okay, there we go. Just gonna put wet in here. And then as per the weather here in Seoul, so currently we are at 6,500 and 55,555 pounds. We're just gonna keep that as it is. That number will go lower due to the fact that we're using fuel slightly with the APU, and then we're going to be using fuel when we taxi towards the runway. So we're just going to keep that one at, Okay, so our winds is 280 at 8, variable between 260 and 320, 2.5 kilometer visibility, and then fog moving southwest. Broken clouds at 200 feet, 6 degrees Celsius, 1015. We will be turning on the anti-ice for this. So we'll enter all of the data here now. Okay, so winds again is 280 at 8. So we're gonna enter 280 knots, 280 degrees 8 knots. This is from 280 and then 8 knots. Temperature is 6 degrees Celsius. We're not gonna touch that. Then QNH is 1015. Okay. So we're going to be using the rated thrust TO so that we can meet the climb gradient requirement. Then we're going to have a rated of 50. Flaps will be 10. And air conditioning is on. And then we're going to have there's no reported snow or ice. We're just going to keep AI off. Okay, here's our results. So it's flaps 10, and then yeah, TO 50. And flaps 10. This is 25. Okay, we're gonna use, there's no slope here in Incheon, and then we're gonna have wet departure. There we go, and then engine out acceleration height was in 800 feet. Acceleration height is 3,000. Climb reduction will be at 1,500. We're gonna be using an ADP1. Okay, so for the speeds, 140, 145, 161. We're just gonna change V1 over here to 140. And that's it, indeed. Okay, we're gonna request winds aloft data so that we will have a bit more accurate winds aloft and fuel prediction data. So yeah. So it's about 25 minutes more before we'll push back. So load. Okay, slow it in. Transition level is good, and Japan and Korea has the same transition level. Okay, our predicted fuel is 39.4 thousand pounds, although that might go up or down depending on the directives that we're going to be having mid-flight. Okay, so CDU pre-flight is complete. Gonna put any ARPs since we're fairly light, and we can just request any vectors for the immediate landing. So yeah, this goes to takeoff, and then this goes legs. Okay, our V2 is 161. The initial climb altitude 5,500 feet. Okay, we're gonna do the takeoff briefing. So takeoff briefing, multi-MTOW placard is not applicable for this flight. We're operating under normal weights and normal weight restrictions. Basic technical status, no issues with the airplane, no reported in ops, and no reported MELS essentially. And weather and wind considerations, winds are calm. The only thing that's worried about is the visibility, although it's not really a factor. It's 2.5 kilometer visibility, winds are calm at 280 to 8 knots, so slight crosswind from the left of the airplane. So from that, there's no wind shears, there's no cold weather operations, no visibility taxi. We're familiar with our routing. We're just gonna taxi following the lights, and we're gonna cross-check it with the onboard airport map or airport navigation, OAN. And no TAMs, there's no unrestricted runways or taxiways. For our routes, so everything looks good in there. So taxi considerations, we are at gate 231. We're going to be pushing back facing south at Romeo 4, left turn Romeo 11, and then right turn at Alpha, left turn Alpha 4, which will be the holding point for runway 33 left. No restrictions for a Category F airplane, since we're familiar with the airflow as well. Okay, takeoff considerations. We're going to be using full length of the runway. Surface condition, we're having wet calculations, even though it's quite dry. That's so that we have extra leeway for our takeoff speeds. Takeoff thrust will be the rated 50, and then flaps will be 10, rotation technically standard. SID chart review, we're going to be using a GOBA 2 Echo. Climb restriction between 1,000 to 2,000 feet per minute. Climb rate below 17,000 feet due to the nearby airport, which is Kinpo. And RNP value will be RNP1. We have already navigation radio set up automatically once we've entered the route. And then automation mode will be LNAV-VNAV. Noise abatement procedure will be an ADP1. Thrust reduction will happen at 1,500. Then 3,000 feet will be the acceleration height. 800 feet is the engine out acceleration height. And then should we return, we can request vectors since we are almost 25,000 pounds below our maximum landing weight. So very light. Landing weight, okay, not takeoff weight. So we're really below our maximum landing weight. And then airway joining will be KALVA Yankee 697 all the way towards Lanat. And then we're not expecting any directs because it's the evening hours. There might be if ever they grant us. We're not going to expect any. And then non-normal procedures, rejected takeoff. Okay, that's the bell that they've finished boarding. 20 minutes ahead of schedule. So yeah. Rejected takeoff, I will say reject. Any issues like the red ECAS warnings, any explosions or any unusual noises that will render the airplane unairworthy, we stop. I will say stop. I will apply braking and then idle thrust. Make sure that the speed brake is deployed. If not deployed automatically, then we will pull the speed brakes on the reject, and then least priority will be reverse thrust. If we can assess that we can retry the takeoff attempt once again, then we will advise ATC. If not, then we can taxi back towards the gate if there's any available gate for us, or if we need to declare an emergency and evacuate on the runway, we'll also advise and declare emergency on the runway. And that will be valid for both before and after V1. After V1, we take off, request for vectors. For an immediate return, there's no need to dump since we're below our maximum landing weight. So we're very light, so we can just land immediately should we need to divert if there's any issues after V1. And yeah, K pages has been reviewed and standard callouts will apply. That's the takeoff briefing complete. Let's do the pre-flight checklist. Pre-flight checklist. Security inspection completed. Oxygen tested 100%. FMS CDU is set. Flight instruments and MCP. Flight instruments altimeter 1015. All sides heading is 65. All sides. And MCP V2161, LNAV and VNAV, ARM, and then altitude 5,500 feet, which is the initial climb. So flight instruments at MCP, that's set. Fuel quantity 78,700 pounds. 787. Let's check. Parking brakes, set. I'll just do the relevant info. Okay, parking brake set indeed. Fuel control switch cut off. Seatbelt signs on. And then auto brakes are RTO. Gear pins on board. Take briefing complete. Checklist complete. Switch the doors. Okay, let's pressurize number 4 for the brake pressure. It's just gonna move up. So we have 18 minutes before we'll push back. So essentially we're ready for our pushback. Everything is all set. So 10 minutes prior to our pushback time, we're gonna do the before start items. We have the fuel pumps, and then number 1 will become aux once we are already cleared for pushback. And then, yeah, the pressurization stuff as well. So we're going to be flying with what's called a fuel tank to engine configuration because we are not carrying, above the fuel under that logic. So essentially what happens on the 747, it's because it's a pretty big airplane. On the 8i, because the 8F does not have any stab tank, so on the 8i there's a stab tank in the rear. So if ever you're going to be carrying lots of fuel for long haul flights, the logic will be that all pumps will be running, and then the pumps, stabilizer pumps, and then the center pumps, these are going to be the ones that will be used first. So essentially stab, and then the center, and then after which main 2 and main 3 will be used. So these are the bigger pumps that we have over here. So again, stab will be first, and then center, then main 2 and 3. So by the time that main 2 and 3 will be, and also main 1, res 1, main 4, and res 4 will be equal to each other, both sides. We're going to be performing what's called fuel tank to engine configuration, in which we're going to configure the fuel pumps so that it's not going to be cross-feeding, and directly pumps for number 2, number 1, and number 4 will essentially be using their own pumps for the engine. So whatever pump is assigned to the engine, like main 1, 2, 3, 4, they're going to be used by the exact same engine that's indicated in the numbers over here. So that will happen as soon as when main 2 and main 3 will equal main 1 and res 1. As you can see, main 3 is 19.7, and then main 4 is 19.7 as well, including res 4, if you add these numbers up. But there's you can buffer this by 100 or 200,000 pounds or so, especially if you're using the AP. It will not be causing an imbalance, but essentially that's when you switch to that fuel tank configuration. So that's what we're going to be doing on this flight, since we're carrying all the 8,700 pounds of fuel. So no, it's very light for this airplane standards anyways. So we're going to remove the ground power unit. Because it's almost time to push back.
손님 여러분, 안녕하십니까? 저희 대한항공은 오늘 탑승하신 여러분을 진심으로 환영합니다. 저희 승무원들은 여러분께서 편안하게 여행하시도록 정성을 다하겠습니다. 휴대전화 등 전자기기는 비행기 모드로 바꿔 사용하실 수 있습니다. 기내 안전요원인 승무원의 지시에 협조해 주시고, 승무원의 업무를 방해하거나 승무원을 무단 촬영하는 행위, 그리고 임의로 비상구를 조작하는 행위는 항공보안법 등 관련 법령에 따라 금지되어 있으며 처벌받을 수 있음을 알려드립니다. 고맙습니다. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. It's our pleasure to have you on board with us today. During the flight, our cabin crew will be happy to assist you in any way we can. You may continue to use electronic devices as long as they are set to airplane mode. Thank you. 또한 여러분께서 탑승하신 이 비행기에서는 이륙 후 대한항공 와이파이를 구매하여 사용하실 수 있습니다. 그러나 비행기 내 대한항공 와이파이를 사용한 전화통화나 영상통화는 이용하실 수 없음을 알려드립니다. 더 자세한 내용은 좌석 앞에 있는 내지 오른칸을 참고해 주시기 바랍니다.
Engine traffic, 76067, take it, correction, taxiing runway 34 red, via Delta 7, Delta Juliet Romeo 8, Mike, and Sierra 240, runway 34 right, engine traffic.
Okay, 11 minutes more. Check the ram times here. Okay, we can close the doors. Okay, all those are armed. Now let's have fuel tank to engine configuration now. Okay, the oxygen pressure is slightly elevated to 1840. It's looking good. We're just gonna wait here for our pushback time. We can already remove the chocks. Oh, wow. Okay, bao.
Amahan mo, Ikson, mo?
Into traffic at the Black 6067 crossing runway 33 right, 15 left at Juliet. Intro. Enter traffic FedEx 6067, clear runway 33 right, 15 left, crossing runway 33 left, 15 right at Juliet. Intro. Traffic FedEx 6067, first on the left, 15 right, Evan Juliet. traffic 6067, taking off runway 34 right, left to about the PMDG departure, point to the south.
So 10 UTC is already here, but there's still no ram time, which is the indication for uh, the gate being fully closed and the airplane getting ready for pushback. Checking for delays. So EOBT4, oh, everything looks good already. So we should be pushing back anytime soon. Still no ram time yet, although there's no predicted delay with the CDL. So yeah, we're just gonna wait here. This is actually the last trip of the day towards Tokyo as a passenger airplane anyways, from Incheon. So this airplane will stay overnight and then it will return tomorrow morning at Incheon. And also the pilots will stay overnight as well in Tokyo.
Clear 67, and we have a 1,100. Less than approximately departure prices of nature.
Okay, still no ram time. So we're just gonna wait up until they do. Normally there would be a 10-minute delay or so. So before start checklist here. Kuliah. Natagak. Kuha mo na nila. Okay, still no RAM time. But there's no delay, so it should be temporary. Oh, nana. Wala bang oras? Okay, so RAM time is here. Let's remove the jetways. Okay, before start items. Okay, number 1 ox. Before start checklist. Hold on a moment. Let's have the squawk code. Okay, no squawk code yet. So wait for it before we'll do the before start checklist. Okay, let's push back here.
헬로 캡틴, we are ready for pushback.
We're ready to.
Departure 6 completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Yeah, we don't have any pushback indications yet. So we'll wait.
Locking gear.
I have not started the pushback anyways. Usually it's nose to the right, but we'll defer this one for now. Delays, delays, delays. This is the real world aviation after all. Okay, still no pushback. Still no info when we're gonna be pushing back. We've changed it to 1910. Oh well. Still no pushback. What the heck? Okay, so it's gonna be a pushback facing north. We still don't have any squawk code yet, so we'll wait for that squawk code essentially. We'll change direction, nose to the left.
Finish parking brakes, please.
There we go. Okay, squawk code 4341 before start checklist. Okay, before start checklist, doors, auto,
Commencing push.
so command pumps for 1 aux,
Started oil.
fuel panel is set, lower circulating fan switch off, packs, 2 packs off, and status display is checked, engine display is also checked, beacon both transponder checklist complete. Okay, engine page. And start engine number 4 and number 3. Number 4 and number 3, auto start. It's gonna be a northbound taxi and then turn towards Blade 33 left. Weird taxi route this actually. Okay, 5,500 feet is the initial climb. Okay, engine 4 and 3 running. Start engine number 2 and number 1. Number 2 and number 1 auto start. Okay, number 2 and 1 running. After start items. Okay, recall is checked. And then trim will be 5.1.
Please set parking brakes.
That's 10, trim 5.1. Okay, brake set.
Unlocking gear.
Flight control check.
Door lock disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Auto check. Okay, after start checklist, APU off, adult command pumps auto, engine anti-ice not required, auto. So circulating fan switch on, packs on, recall checked, trim 5.1, 0 and 0, flaps 10, controls checked, gun equipment is clear, checklist complete. Just the checklist, let's have the sign, just moving away. We're gonna taxi north.
Traffic 380, command push, face runway, facing runway facing traffic mid-light.
Oh, wait.
Okay, taxi. Welcome brakes off. Cool down period 3 minutes, no exceeding of 35 and 1. Okay, taxi. Traffic, Korean Air 705 Heavy, taxi to runway 33 left via northbound route.
손님 여러분, 우리 비행기는 이제 이륙하겠습니다. 과속셀비를 내셨는지 다시 한번 확인해 주시기 바랍니다. We are now ready to take off. Please make sure that your seatbelt is securely fastened.
Traffic, Korean Air 705 Heavy, taxiing to runway 33 left via northbound route. Traffic. Thank you.
And traffic 380, will taxi runway 33 left via Romeo 9, 5 speed on modified go over 33 left traffic mid-light.
Okay, so next turn here. Yan na. So, sa mukha dere. It will take Alpha. Chen traffic, Korean Air 705 Heavy giving way to 777 traffic. Cabin crew, please prepare for takeoff. Yeah, you can go ahead. We'll give way for you. Salamat. That was static. Yeah, we're gonna be holding short Romeo 4. To traffic, Korean Air 705 Heavy holding short Alpha 4 for departing traffic 33 left. We'll be lining up afterwards. Korean Air 705 traffic. Okay. Let's have our transponder to TARA.
Traffic advisory, Korean 82 will line up and depart runway 33 left traffic right.
Second left. Let's have the before takeoff checklist page open, where the radar can be on now.
Incheon traffic, Korean 82 rolling on runway 33 left traffic right.
Okay, brake set. By the time that he's at 500 feet, let's go. Gen traffic, Korean Air 705 Heavy, line up and wait 3 for that. Okay, before takeoff items. Before takeoff checklist, cabin report, received. Strobe lights on, weather radar on. Flaps 10, transponder, TARA, checklist complete. And engine traffic, Korean Air 705, takeoff runway 33 left. Okay, initial climb 5,500 feet, runway heading 334, V2 161. Fully ready. Takeoff. Stabilized. Toga, thrust reference. Thrust set. 65 knots. Hold. Check. Gear up. LNAV. Plus ref, VNAV speed. Okay, we can't see shit, so let's have left autopilot engage. Okay, climb thrust, climb 1. Attention traffic, Korean Air 705, airborne passing 3,000 feet clear of runway 3 left. Okay, flaps 5, speed check, flaps 5. Okay, flaps 1, speed check, flaps 1.
Delta 172 pattern generation 3 letter, pattern KALVA 2,
Okay, flaps up. Okay, speed, VNAV path. After takeoff checklist complete.
Attention traffic, Korean Air 395 over traffic midlight.
Yes, sir. Okay, climb 23,000 feet. Okay, press for VNAV speed.
Delta 172 Heavy, airborne passing 2,000 feet. Left off, insurance.
손님 여러분, 방금 좌석 벨트 표시등이 꺼졌습니다. 그러나 비행기가 갑자기 흔들릴 수 있습니다. 자리에서는 항상 좌석 벨트를 매주시기 바랍니다. 고맙습니다. The captain has turned off the seatbelt sign. However, we recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight in case of unexpected turbulence. Thank you.
Okay, so we're back and we're gonna be doing the landing briefing. So, landing briefing, we're gonna be landing runway 34 right in Tokyo, Narita, which is actually a short runway. It's only having 2,500 meters, so 2.5 kilometers of length. So and since it's raining in Tokyo currently right now, we've elected to have auto brakes 4 due to the length of the runway and the weather situation. There's no issue with the visibility, it's just raining hard here in Tokyo. So, no TAMs, there's none. AC technical status, we're still on the same airplane essentially, and everything is actually looking good. There's no melts that developed over the course of the flight and such. Okay, we're cleared to descend 27,000 feet. Okay, and no unserviceable runways, taxiways, navigates, nothing. Weather consideration, let's request another METAR from Tokyo. Okay, we have no voice for some reason. Well, so latest weather is 010 at 10 knots. There's still rain, unlimited visibility, 11 degrees Celsius and 1011. Still looking good in Tokyo. Hold on. Hey, there's still no voice for some reason. That's fine, there's no ATC anyways. Okay. Okay, voice server connected again. Okay, let's continue landing briefing. Weather review, ATIS review, weather is 010 10 knots, and rain and limited visibility, few clouds 1,000 feet, broken at 5,000, 11 degrees Celsius, and QNH 1011, no significant clouds detected. So there's no issues with the winds, the visibility, this is just raining. Our arrival runway, again, is 34 right. Our alternate airport is Haneda, both of which are open. And minimum fuel, we're actually carrying more than enough with our predicted fuel on arrival, so everything looks good on that. Okay. Aside from that, there's no issues, and there's going to be a slight crosswind coming from the right. But from that, there's nothing else. Okay, so transition level is the same. It's flight level 140, and no holding fixed, just vectors. We're going to be having the Swamp Tango arrival. And yeah, aside from that, lateral or automation mode is LNAV V now. And then terrain considerations, there's no special procedures. We're familiar with the runway. And then taxi considerations, they're just gonna guide us wherever we want to go. Familiar, and there's no restrictions anyways. So yeah, aside from that, stabilized conditions, just normal stuff. Any sink rates, excessive sink rates, bird strike that will throw us out of the stabilized criteria, and they're gonna go around and then try and come back again. If not, we can divert into our alternate airport with the Sopacta. That's the landing briefing complete. We'll do the descent checklist at 20,000 feet. Okay, continue descent to 23,000 feet. Set a bit more thrust. Pang-electric pan mo dyan na lang. Okay, continue descent 15,000 feet. Okay, auto brakes 4. Let's prepare that one. Speed VNAV path. Okay, thrust VNAV speed. Let's announce landing to your cabin crew. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Okay, let's do the descent checklist. Descent checklist, recall, check. Notes, check landing NATA, VREV 143, minimums 391. And auto brakes 4, landing briefing complete, cabin crew set pass checklist.
Aray ko ha. Wine. Asa si ate?
Let's add a bit more power. Let's add a bit more power. Okay, altimeter is 1011. Okay, direct Gurip now. Gurip entered, execute. Okay, 1,000 to go. A direct Vixen will descend to 11,000 feet in the moment. Tokyo approach, good evening, Korean Air 705 Heavy, descending to flat level or 11,000 feet, inbound Vixen for Tokyo or Narita 34 right arrival. Tokyo approach, Korean Air 705. Approach Tokyo approach, Korean Air 705 Heavy.
Korean 705, 85. Thank you. Scope 1361.
One 1361, Korean Air 705.
Korean Air 705, radar contact. Runway 34 right. Expect ILS runway 34. Korean 705, device runway 34 left. Expect ILS runway 34 left approach.
Korean Air 705, we would like to request 34 right since we're following the real flight if that's possible.
8 around 0,000.
Descend maintain 10,000 and Korean Air 705, can we request runway 34 right approach, Zulu 34 right due to we're following the real airplane as well. We're doing 34 right.
Korean 705, roger, runway 34 right, expect ILS Zulu runway 34 right approach. Right exit 16, descent 10,000.
Send 10,000, 160, Korean Air 705.
2410, descent at pilot discretion, maintain 8,000.
Descent pilot discretion, maintain 8,000 on top 1.
Okay, still time's on. Let's just turn it on due to the fact that there's some storms nearby.
Korean 705, down, right heading 180.
Right 180, Korean Air 705.
Descent to 4,000 by creek, clear pilot Zulu, runway 34 right approach.
Descent 4,000 by creek, clear for Zulu runway 34 right approach from 1.
Okay, speed VNAV out. Okay, 10,000 feet stuff. Okay, approach checklist, landing turn off, taxi lights on, seatbelt signs on, altimeters 1011, checklist checklist complete.
Contact Tokyo Tower 124 decimal 35.
124 decimal 35.
Great. Korean 705, descent and maintain 6,000.
17,6000, Korean Air 705 heavy.
Approaching the specific candidate by chance we have information with me.
Japan 208 capital, runway 34 left, clear via Oshima 1 Alpha Lima, declare direct on the descent via start 13,000. Emergency for the approach Hotel 1 Alpha arrival, gate on the return travel 13,000 Japan Air 208. Japan Air 208 confirmation, descent via start to 1 seater. Sorry, descent via start and 1,000 Japan Air 208. Report 410, weather contact lost.
Continue descent 5,000, Green Air 705 Heavy.
Radar contact also identity.
Sorry, identity, only 410.
Report 410, thank you, radar contact, 16 miles east of Tokyo, United States, now descent for Dana, cross clean for Dana, clarified, blue runway for light approach.
Cross clean for Dana, clear to runway, to light approach, 0.10.
Okay, flaps 1, speed check, flaps 1.
손님 여러분, 우리 비행기는
Japan Air 208, flying 070 Texas to Arnold.
고맙습니다. We will be landing
Flying 070 Japan Air 208. Korean Air 705, turn right heading 240.
Right heading 240, Korean Air 705 Heavy. Okay, so it's 14.8 if I'm not mistaken, 14.8 miles from the shoreline, or from the ILS that we're going to be deploying.
Japan Air 208, descend and maintain 8000. Descend and maintain 8000, Japan Air 208.
11.8.
Tokyo, approximately release your fire.
14.6, sorry.
Information X-ray, flight 178 to descend to the
Japan 526 Tokyo approach runway 34 right, clear to be a boarding 1 Charlie arrival, liquidated to car, descend to reach 1000.
Cabin ready. Cabin report received. Okay, flaps 5, speed
Japan
check.
526 descend to reach 1000 by car. Korea 705, turn right heading 300.
Runway 300, Korean 7055. Okay, localizer alive.
Contact Tokyo Tower, 124 decimal 35.
Contact Tokyo Tower, 124 decimal 35, on Pongo, 10, はい。
Right. Korea 705, turn right heading 310, intercept localizer.
Right 310, intercept ILS 34, right localizer, Korean 705. Okay, localizer arm.
Japan 20H, turn right heading 05, have descend and maintain 5000.
Turn exit 050, descend maintain 5000, Japan 20H.
Tokyo approach on 286, we have X-ray, flight level 210.
Okay, approach mode arm.
286 Tokyo approach,
Let's
runway
localize.
34 left, clear via axle 1 alpha arrival, clear direct axle, descend via start 1 2000. Runway 34 left, clear via axle 1 alpha arrival,
Speed brakes on.
descend via start 1 2000 on 286.
B7 is the heading. And Tokyo approach Korean 705 heavy, established the localizer 34 right.
Korea 705, Lacha, 2 miles from Lacha, clear pilot Zulu, I'm ready for light approach.
Cleared Zulu, ILS Zulu 34 at approach Korean 705 heavy. Thank you. Okay, flap stand, speed check, flap stand. .6 miles. Let's have gear down. Flaps 20.
Japan 208, Nijima navigation, direct Arrow, maintain 5000 kilo, clear pilot full, down 34 left approach.
Shift down, maintain 5000 until clear to LS, runway 34 left approach, Japan 20H.
Okay, flaps 30, speed check, flaps 30.
Tokyo approach line 464, heading Carnival 2704220, X-ray. 464, Tokyo approach, runway 34 left, clear via Oshima 1 alpha arrival, declare direct and descend
And the
via
checklist
start
complete.
1 meter. Runway 34 left, clear via Oshima 1 alpha arrival, direct and descend via start 3000.648.
Final speed is 143. It's 5. It's 5.
Direct axle descend via 1000 on 日本と LC です。 これで705ランウェイ34ライト、クリアトゥランウィンド02フラット0。
Clear to land runway 34 right, Korean Air 705 Heavy, thank you. Okay, 10 miles. Runway in sight.
Japan 544 to cancel, runway 34 right, clear via body 1 Charlie arrival. Descend via star to 11 star.
KBI body 1 Charlie arrival, descend via star to 11 star, and follow the table right, Japan 544.
Okay, let's have 153 actually, due to the fact that there's some naughty winds all around.
Point 648, flight heading 080 vector to Arrow. Heading 08.
Okay, recall check, radio altimeter check, and the checklist has been redone. Okay, manual flight. Manual thrust.
Japan 526, after color, directly cross color at 1 star. After color, directly cross color at 1 star, Japan 5. Nippon 286, flying 060 vector to Arrow. Flying 060, Nippon 286.
Nga. Okay, clear to land runway inside.
Nippon 648, descend runway 10 8. And 8 648.
Winds are quite naughty, but it's predominantly pointing from the coming from the right. Slightly from the left.
Japan 208, contact Tokyo Tower 118 decimal 1.
Contact Tower 118 decimal 1, Japan 208.
Ready.
1000.
Check, stabilized. Check, stabilized.
400.
Nippon 648, turn left heading 060.
Minimums.
Landing.
Japan 526, descend at final discretion, maintain 8.
20. 10.
Japan 544,
Okay, speed brakes up. 4 reverse. Manual braking.
Prepar3Dv4, radar contact. Japan 544 after color, direct cream, cross color at 1
우리 비행기는
After color, direct cream, cross color at 1
좌석 벨트 푸시등이 꺼질 때까지 자리에 앉아서 기다려 주십시오.
40.286 descend on maintain 8,000.
주의하시기 바랍니다.
Descend on maintain 8,000 40.286.
대한항공을 이용해 주셔서 대단히 고맙습니다. 저희 승무원들은 앞으로도 여러분께서 안전하고 편안하게 여행하시도록 정성을 다하겠습니다. 고맙습니다. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor to have you with us today. We have landed at our destination. Please remain seated until the cabin
Tokyo approach Korean 705 Heavy, clear of runway 34 right, request gate number 26.
Thank you for choosing Korean Air, a member of SkyTeam, and we
Korean 705, Russia, taxi via Charlie, hold short of Sierra 7.
Charlie, hold short, Sierra 7, Korean 705 Heavy. Okay, let's clean the airplane.
40.286, turn left heading 010. Turn left heading 010, 40.286. 40.648, descend on maintain 5,000. And 5,000.648. Japan 544, confirm directing clear.
That's coming to I don't know why the topic of the not directing creamで今出てきたから
はい、Japan 544、はい、ディレクトクリーム。
not directing cream, Japan 544.
Okay, cool down period 3 minutes, no exceeding
Climb via seat to flight level 200.
no exceeding 35 and 1.
From 286, reduce speed to 200 knots. Reduce speed to 200 knots on Nippon 286. Japan 544, reduce speed to 210, then descend on maintain 8,000.
Reduce speed 210 knots, then descend maintain 8,000, Japan 544.
Japan 526, descend to reach 4,000 by gate, clear pilot through runway 34 light approach.
Descend to reach 4,000 by clear point 34 light approach. Japan 526.
ICN 1035, contact Fukuoka Control 133, level 02. 40.648, Navigation, direct